Full Metal Jacket.
Hi. Yeah. I just watched Full Metal Jacket for the first time. And, you know, in some ways, I was vaguely unimpressed and had questions about it. And so this video was me searching out how to talk about it. I feel like this was two different movies. It felt like, because we're in basic training for 45 minutes. That moment leading up to the point where Leonard, or Gomer Pyle, winds up, Gomer Pyle, Pyle. The moment leading up to when he shoots the drill sergeant, which happens, now you'll have to know that if you've never seen. Why the fuck would you be watching a Full Metal Jacket video if you hadn't seen it already? The moment leading up to that takes 45 minutes. It's like almost half of the film. It seems like an inciting incident type thing that you would expect to see in like 20 to 25 minutes. But because we're trying to, Kubrick, I think, wants you to really sit and watch the progression of Gomer Pyle from the like kind of like smiling guy he was to the dude who is totally snapped. But I'm trying to like get into the head of Gomer Pyle as a character, and also the other characters, and at times feel like they don't make a lot of sense.
This is my rifle, this is my gun, this is for fighting, this is for fun.
38% of the military forces in Vietnam were draftees. 38%. It wasn't a majority. That's a large amount of people who were drafted, and some of whom I imagine were not happy to be drafted. But we're still talking 38%. So to me, when I'm watching the film, it seems as if all of the guys in basic training to go to Vietnam in this film, in Full Metal Jacket, everybody we see going through basic, or I don't know that this is basic, but Marine train, I don't know, whatever the fuck, I'm not from the military. Look at me wearing a hat inside. You think I'd get away with this hair in the military? Everybody seems to be there of their own volition. They all seem like they wanted to join up, Gomer Pyle included.
Sir, yes, sir! Private Joker, why did you join my beloved corps? Sir, to kill, sir! So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face. Sir! You got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah!
And so that, I feel like, especially given how the draft and the popularity of the war, you know, it's been a long time since the 60s. My memory of the 60s is a little hazy, given that I was not alive. So I don't know what it was like in the Corps, especially in boot camp. Boot camp? We'll call it boot camp. I was calling it basic. We'll call it boot camp. I'm henceforth calling it boot camp. In boot camp, I would have expected to see more than just Joker and Gomer having run-ins with the drill sergeant, if these guys were there against their own will. But it seems like everybody is like, sir, yes, sir, like immediately. Like, so, it's an interesting story, but I have a hard time thinking about, like, all of these guys wanted to be Marines, including Gomer Pyle. And Gomer Pyle looked like he was going to die, but he made the Marines. Like, I know everybody turns against him, and there's kind of the psychological, like, where the drill sergeant, like, turns the whole group against them. That's something that happened in football practices growing up, where, you know, one person jumps off sides, everybody's running. So it's like you punish the group for the individual's mistake, then the group turns on the individual more or less and is like, come on, you piece of shit. And, you know, it's a real thing that sucks and it happens. Gomer really doesn't have any friends. Who can relate? Right? But then Joker kind of is put in charge of him and is friendly towards him. And those scenes where we're watching Joker, like, teach him how to lace his fucking boots and everything about his rifle and helping him get over the obstacle. It's like, you know, bad cop wasn't working, the drill sergeant guy, and then Joker has this, like, good cop role. But my issue with the opening is in the middle of the night, they beat Gomer Pyle with soaps. Like, everybody wraps their bar of soap in a towel. They gag him and hold him down under a blanket, and they beat the shit out of him. It was Joker who seems to, in some ways, have maybe orchestrated it, or at least been in on it. Nobody reported this to the commanding officer. And it seems like, you know, I know Joker probably doesn't want to be a tattletale, but I feel like a big part of why I was rooting for him as a character was because of his relationship with Gomer Pyle. But then he's the one that signals to everybody, hey, he's asleep, because he's his bunkmate. So he more or less, like, we don't get to see any evidence that Joker was, like, wrapped up in this. We don't see the conspiracy unfolding. We don't know how it unfolded, which is fine. Like, I'm not here acting like I would have directed this better than Kubrick, but I just find it hard to get into the head of Joker and Gomer and everybody else. I understand why he would have snapped after everybody beat him with soap. But I don't understand. He suddenly found a thing he was good at, which was shooting, you know, the rifle. And suddenly the drill sergeant is like, you're a born-again badass, or whatever he says.
Ah, you are definitely born again hard.
Where he's like, we finally found the thing. He's finally praising Gomer Pyle.
Outstanding, Private Pyle. I think we finally found something that you do well. Sir, yes, sir.
And I don't, you know, I feel like a lot of the times when there's somebody who's, like, verbally abusing you and then they finally switch, like, I think it's kind of more common in psychology to be, like, really happy. And it's like this trauma bond or whatever. So I find it weird that just when it seems like Gomer is finally being embraced by the group, more or less, that he's made Marines, he's made infantry. As far as I can tell, he was there of his own volition. He's about to leave this group and go join another unit as a talented rifleman. He's graduated. He's done with this boot camp. And it seems like, you know, obviously he snaps and he can't let go, kind of the psychological abuse he's undergone. But I guess my trouble with it is that it seemed like there could have been a turn. I almost think the film is more interesting if he has snapped and then we see what kind of a killer he becomes in Vietnam. I think it's... like, I think the film becomes overwhelmingly less interesting after he takes his own life. Like, 45 minutes in, he shoots the drill sergeant, he shoots himself in the head, he's dead in the bathroom, and then I'm left with this Joker guy who I frankly don't give a shit about, because I'm like, the one thing I was rooting for you for, I'm no longer rooting for you because of you being a dick, like beating the shit out of your bunkmate with soap. So I don't know. I find the characters kind of hard to believe, I guess. You know, we get this, like, moment where Cowboy and Joker have this big reunion. I don't believe it at all. They're like, oh my God, my best friend. I'm like, it never seemed like they were that close. during boot camp. Like they mopped together or whatever, but they barely talked. But it does seem like maybe they orchestrated beating the shit out of Gomer. Like, you know, Joker's the one who signals it, Cowboy's the one who gags him, and Cowboy's like, come on, do it. And Joker, you know, takes some swings at him. And it's really fucked up because, you know, the only character in some ways that I care about is Gomer Pyle. And then he's dead. And I don't know. We spend so much time building up towards that moment, and when it comes, it has no impact on me because I don't believe it. It doesn't seem. I don't actually get to see the turn. We just get all of a sudden these close-ups where he's looking demented, and it's like, I understand why he's demented, but it's like why he snaps. But I don't know. It just, something about the payoff, I don't believe it. And I can't put a finger on why that is. And then the rest of the film, like the stupid thing with Joker having Born to Kill on his helmet and a peace sign. And he's like, I wanted to suggest something about the duality of man, the Jungian thing. I'm like, give me, fucking gag me. Like, really? You got to say that in the fucking dialogue? Like, give me a break. I don't know. It's a fine film. It was good and well directed. I have questions about the characters and the writing. I find that it seems to, on the one hand, be dealing with some pretty serious subject matter, but then it's campy at times where, like, it's not taking it seriously, I don't think. I don't know. So I have a hard time taking the film seriously because it seems like on the one hand, it's trying to be very serious, and on the other hand, it's trying to not be serious at all. And so I'm left watching it, and that moment in the end where, like, there's the dying sniper, the girl, where she's struggling, and Joker finally, I think this is his first confirmed kill. We don't even, it kind of happens off camera because Joker wins the scene. It's obviously about him and not this poor girl he's shooting dead. But, like, so we hold on his face when he takes the shot or whatever, which makes sense. That's probably how you should do the sequence. But it just, the beats of the film never landed with me. That's where I'm caught up with the film, is it didn't resonate. And I don't know if it's because it's kind of older and maybe the sound design is just okay. Like maybe it hasn't been preserved and held up the way maybe it should have been. But I don't know. I feel like in the pantheon of war films, I don't come away feeling like this is an important one. I'm like, you know, it's kind of, it is the opening 45 minutes in boot camp, watching kind of the psychology of the drill sergeant and how he turns everybody against Gomer Pyle. Like, all of those tactics are real. That stuff is really interesting. And then the film for then on is totally uninteresting to me. And so it's like two films. It's like the first half has enough that I'm like, this is really interesting. And then we transition to Vietnam, and I'm just like, there's nothing there. It seems like not that well made once we get to Vietnam. Like, we keep getting these dissolves that are like, almost seems like it's a pastiche where like they just rolled on a bunch of footage, and then they were like, yeah, we have all these sequences. We don't know how we're transitioning from one thing to another. We don't have like a clear goal here for how we're going to move from one thing to the next. So fuck it, we're just going to dissolve. And I don't know, man. I think in the first half of the film, there were certainly some transitions and dissolves that made sense to me. but I don't know. I just because Kubrick is so revered, and so I go into watching one of his. I have not watched a lot of Kubrick. I think the only Kubrick I've seen all the way through is The Shining. So this is my second Kubrick. I've seen some of 2001. I was bored out of my fucking mind. It wasn't interesting to me. Frankly, I don't like the whole idea of a sentient AI. I think that's bullshit and rubbish. I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can get consciousness out of a mechanical thing. And, we could talk about AI in general at another time. But it's, I know, like some people, I have a buddy, favorite film, 2001. All well and good. I couldn't finish it, and I'll try to watch it again. I've tried to watch it other times, and I can't get into it. So I don't know what it is about Kubrick. I'm told he's one of the best, and I'm just having a hard time seeing it. It's not like I didn't think Full Metal Jacket was good, but with the way people talk about Stanley Kubrick, I was expecting it to have any amount of impact, and I felt nothing watching it. I wasn't like invested in any of the characters. I wasn't invested in the story. I didn't frankly believe some of the characters because they just seemed like not at all like real people. The subject matter is serious, but it's not taken seriously, but it wants me to take it seriously, but I can't because it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what it was about Full Metal Jacket, but I was vaguely unimpressed. So anyway, that's thanks for watching me watch movies while I sound off. I was thinking I'm going to call this series Watching Movies While I Sound Off. And I guess the basic premise is that I'll watch movies and sound off and yell and be upset about things. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm cherry picking either. Like I don't feel like I'm being unfair to the film. I just think I don't know. I was watching it again last night, and I felt like I appreciated Gomer Pyle more and understood the break that he had and why he would have had it. Because he's very isolated and alone. But at the same time, as I've said, it seemed like he was there of his own volition, that he wanted to be a Marine, and he made Marines. He made the Corps. So I would have thought he would have been excited. Like, if he was drafted there against his own will, his other option is jail, and if that was expressed in any way or made overt at all, then I'm like, okay, I understand why. If he never wanted to be a Marine in general, and then he's there in like this living hell, this waking nightmare, and then, he gets to the end, he's made the Marines, and he realizes like he's about to go join some other corps with other people who are also going to alienate him and be mad at him and hate him and blah, 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 blah. Then maybe I get why he would shoot the drill sergeant and take his own life. But I don't get it. I don't totally get it. And I think I don't totally buy into it as a story. I also like the level of orchestration of them beating him with soaps in the night. Like, everybody was ready to beat him with soap. And I know it's just a movie, and it's like we get this amazing shot of Cowboy looking like a literal snake kind of perched at the foot of his bed. I loved that shot. There's something really creepy about the sound design. They reprised that same sound design when Joker's on Firewatch and we get the scene in the bathroom. And it's kind of this like eerie, like, wah, you know. But I don't get how they could have orchestrated all that in such a way without anybody being like, no, we're gonna be in trouble. And I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm fine with that scene. I think, you know, Gomer, like, there's some smart stuff in the opening, especially with the jelly donut. You know, we see that he smuggled the jelly donut, so we've established that he is able to sneak things. So I understand, like, maybe he smuggled like 1 or 2 bullets at a time back to his place, and then he finally had a full magazine at some point and loaded it up, and, you know. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't totally believe the timing of when he snaps. Right after he's made the core, which he's there. As far as I can tell, everybody there wanted to be there. There was a small amount of Marines who were draftees. Like, for the most part, the people who got drafted went into the Army. A small portion of them, as far as I know, wound up in the Marines. So everybody in that room wanted to be a Marine. That was their goal. Gomer included. And then he makes the Marine. So I don't understand. Like, he's about to never see this guy again. Why is he shooting him? I don't know. So, yeah, I had a hard time wrapping my head around this one. I think it's good. I think the opening half had some great things about it, but for whatever reason, the effect it was supposed to have on me, it didn't. And I don't know, if you're building towards the major emotional moment of the film and it fails to land, I think that's on the director or something. I don't know. And it was like telegraphed. Like, it was like all of a sudden we went from, like, you know, he's smirking and stuff, to all of a sudden we're getting close-ups of him, like really, like, nobody's gonna mention, like, there's that moment where, you know, the whole group is shouting out, kill, 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 blood, 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 or whatever, and Gomer's just, and this is the guy who the drill sergeant has been picking on the whole time. He's not gonna fucking notice that Gomer's not talking and saying stuff. Like, he's not gonna notice that during Gomer's staring at him like this. Like, I don't know. He's talking to his rifle. Fuck it. I don't know why he didn't quit. If he didn't want to be there and he wasn't drafted, I don't know why he didn't just quit when the drill sergeant was like, fucking quit, dude. Get the fuck out of my face all the time. Get off my obstacle. And then he doesn't quit. I don't know if you can quit like that. But I'm like, he clearly wasn't up to physical standards. He clearly wasn't figuring things out on his own. I in some ways can't believe that he made the cut. I don't believe that he made it to the end to try to make the cut. And then when he did make the cut, I don't understand why he snaps. He wanted to make the cut and he did. And then he snaps. I think it's like something about it is really fucking stupid, I think. And I find it hard to... None of the characters seem like people. They all like, it's like they don't. Like, I don't know. They don't seem like people, and they seem somehow less developed than characters. Like I get that the drill sergeant's the only guy I believe in the film. The only guy who I'm like, yeah, I believe in this guy. Animal Mother, what the fuck? Like, he just all of a sudden wants to beat up a photographer? How fucking dumb is that? Like, I don't know. There's just something off about this film then I come away feeling like it's kind of fucking dumb. And if that offends you, good. Good. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I mean, if you like it, you know, I could be totally wrong. You know, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. This film, for whatever reason, none of its moments landed with me emotionally. I felt pretty much nothing while I watched it. I wasn't laughing at the stuff the drill sergeant said. I didn't laugh at the me so horny thing. Like, there were moments where I feel like I'm supposed to be laughing. I don't think I laughed one time. I think the only time I was like kind of smiling was when Gomer had the grin, because I thought it was such a good like job from the actor to like portray like I'm kind of grinning. But yeah, there are other moments where like I feel like I'm supposed to find them funny, and I didn't. Whatever.